8:15 on May the 31st, 2019. This is James Brierton, Carolina Weather Group, continuing coverage of severe weather. We're back on the air now with an tornado warning. Let's widen out here a little bit, give you a little bit of proximity of where we are. We are in eastern North Carolina. This is just south of Greenville. We have three counties here that are in tornado warning for the next 15 minutes or so. This does remain in effect for Greene, northern Lenior, and southwestern Pitts County until 8:30. The latest you can see here from the National Weather Service, this one is under the jurisdiction of the Newport Moorhead City office, is that a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Murray, or 10 miles west of Aden, moving east at 30 miles per hour. The hazards with this, if it were to come to fruition, would be a tornado and ping pong size hail. Again, of course, like with any tornado warning, the concerns here are for flying debris, which would be dangerous if you were caught outside or caught not in a sturdy structure. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed in a tornado. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles would occur. Tree damage is also likely. Again, this is a radar indicated rotation. We don't have confirmation of any sort of tornado on the ground at this point, but let me turn off some of this lightning here. You can see with this particular thunderstorm, we have quite a bit of lightning. We're looking right now at velocity data from the Raleigh-Durham radar site, and we're looking here where the winds are coming both towards and away from the radar, really close together, and that's where the green and the red are, and that's where this area of rotation is now at 8:16. It is going to be approaching Aden here in the next few minutes, as well as Grifton. And Winterville, you should also be in your safe place. If you're back towards LaGrange or Snow Hill, the actual rotation has passed through, and as we put this radar back into motion to show you what played out over the course of the last few minutes or so, you'll be able to see that area of rotation came right through Snow Hill, as now it is continuing to the east. Again, it's where that bright red and that green are really close together here, as we're looking at winds moving away and towards the radar in a very close proximity. If we go to dual panel here, and we can actually on the left hand side change this over to reflectivity. This is probably what you're most used to seeing with a radar, because we're going to be looking at the rains on the left and the wind on the right. Again, we're looking at this area right on in here, and on the left hand side of your screen you can actually see what we call this hook echo, where it allows the winds to get sucked back up into the storm. So we can see this here in both vantage points. We can also look at a factor called correlation coefficient, which would help us discern if there was any sort of debris in the air with this storm. And as we put it into motion here for the last few minutes or so, we'll wait to see if anything in particular sticks out at us, and we'll have to wait, I think, until a little bit further of analysis is able to be provided to us. But again, we're looking at the tornado warning here in eastern North Carolina that goes for another 15 minutes or so. We can still see an area of circulation that is now going to make everyone between Winterville, Aden, and Grifton move to your safe places here. And again, that is going to be the lowest level of your home, a sturdy structure with as many doors or walls between you and the outside as possible. You certainly want to be away from those windows. I'm going to go ahead and widen this on out here for you, get you a view of what's happening now across the region. And you can see we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that also is back in effect for portions of the Raleigh area while we wait for that radar data to come back on in. You can see that we've got a line of strong storms now from Raleigh through Gamer coming into Clayton, Four Oaks. You're going to see here in a few moments as well too. And actually what really catches my eye here, and some of you may find this interesting as well too, is we have this outflow boundary coming over Fort Bragg, coming over Fayetteville, as far to the east as Mount Olive, and it's moving to the south. That's that line you see there. And what that is just the winds from these storms out ahead of it. And you can see here as it marches off to the south, it's actually going to be running into some more storms and some more precipitation. And we'll have to wait to see what happens, how they interact together as well too, because we may not be seeing it here, but certainly we would expect these storms as well too to have some wind coming out from them. And as we switch this back over to velocity, we can see that same outflow boundary here again, pushing over Fayetteville and to the south. And certainly, if you're in any of those areas right now, it may not be raining, but you're going to certainly notice that heavy wind coming on through. So again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Raleigh area. And while we've got this in the velocity mode to show you winds, we can actually show you exactly what has prompted this severe thunderstorm warning. And it's going to be for these 60-mile-per-hour winds here. It's where it's really bright, the greens, as this peaks towards the 60-mile-per-hour mark, that is, excuse me, as it comes back across Garner here and actually closer to the radar site just outside of Clayton. Let me stop this here and see exactly where this is right now. Again, these are just radar estimates. We're pretty close to the radar site, so we're going to be looking fairly low to the ground here, but 45-mile-per-hour winds here just outside of Raleigh as we make our way back into the city. We're still looking at about 40-mile-per-hour winds or so. And the other thing that would likely qualify this for a severe thunderstorm warning, if we do in fact have any, and we may here, is the possibility of some damaging hail. And I think you can see that here as we move on down south towards Benson and Coates. You can see some radar indicated vertical integrated liquid or hail. And again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning here for another 40 minutes or so, with a line of thunderstorms extending from Raleigh to Coates, moving east at 30 miles per hour, the hazard of being 60-mile-per-hour gusts and quarter-size hail. Let's check back in now on our tornado warning. This is going to be just south of the Greenville area. And again, I actually still have the radar right now on that hail detecting mode. So not only does this area of concern for the tornado warning also have hail with it, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the Greenville area. You can see this bullseye right here. I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting some reports, and let's go ahead and turn those reports on here, of hail now just outside Simpson and Greenville. We just recently got a report of pea-size or quarter-size hail coming into the Greenville area, and we're going to be watching for that as well too. So down here now towards Snow Hill, where we had that area of rotation come through not too long ago, half-inch reports of hail that came through with this storm. And as we put this back into motion here again to show you the hail that the radar detected as this storm came on through, you can really see that it lights up here just outside of Peakville as it moves back towards Snow Hill. And this circle indicates another report of dime size, 3/4 size inch hail associated with this same thunderstorm, capable of producing a tornado. Let's check in now to see where that area of rotation is. We still have that same severe thunderstorm warning that goes for another 8 minutes. And if you are just joining us, this is a tornado warning for northeastern Lenior, southwestern Pitt, and also for southeastern Greene counties. The update now from the National Weather Service is that this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Roundtree or Ayden, moving east at 30 miles per hour. When they say a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, what that means is radar is indicating rotation right on in here, just outside of Ayden, and so they've gone ahead and issued this tornado warning so that everyone in the path of the storm can move to safety. The tornado warning language would change if a radar detected a confirmed tornado, either again by radar or by eyes on the ground. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Okay, so we're continuing to watch here. We have a number of warnings, just the one tornado warning. We do have several other severe thunderstorm warnings. And while we're waiting for the next radar scan to come in from the Greenville area with that tornado warning, I will show these to you just briefly here. Along the North Carolina-South Carolina border towards the coast, just outside Myrtle Beach, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that goes for another 40 minutes for Bladen, Robinson, Columbus, Dillon, Horry, and Marion counties for a severe thunderstorm located along this line with 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So that will be a threat there as well too. If you're in the low country of South Carolina, if you're watching on Charleston Weather or Weather Flow with Shay Gibson, you can see you do have some rain, heavy in places, but not severe at this time, marching your way. And even towards the Outer Banks right now, we have some activity as well too, a severe thunderstorm warning for the next few minutes here for Hyde and Dare counties, with a storm capable of producing, once again, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. We are most importantly watching this tornado warning just south of Greenville that goes for another 5 minutes or so. And we'll take a look here. We're looking at it now from the Morehead City radar. And even if you aren't caught up in this possible tornado, you very well are going to see this line of winds here as I'm querying it from the radar. 40, maybe 50 miles per hour wind gusts at times is certainly enough to do damage. And certainly a tornado warning is not something we want to discredit or ignore, but we also need to, of course, pay attention to the damaging winds that not only will be affecting Winterville, Ayden, and Grifton, but also into the Greenville area. So Simpson, Grimsland, even over towards Washington and Washington Park, you're on the outer edges of this severe thunderstorm warning seen here in yellow for those damaging winds. And so if you're outside right now, maybe maybe taking a Friday evening walk or at a sporting event, you should head inside, even if you're outside of this tornado warning. But in this tornado warning here, again, between Aden and Grifton right now, near 60-mile-per-hour winds are being observed from the radar site. Right now, we're looking at it from the perspective from the south. We've got a radar over Newport here from Morehead City looking back up. We also have another perspective which comes out of Raleigh, which we can look at as well too, just to compare. And this one you can actually see the area of rotation that they were concerned about a little bit better. It's right where that green and that bright red is. And so we're going to watch here. Again, it is very quickly about to move out of the red polygon and into the yellow polygon, which means that the area of rotation would be moving outside of the tornado warned area and into the severe thunderstorm warning area. I don't want to read too far into that. We'll wait to see here. We have 5 more minutes left on this tornado warning, and whether or not the National Weather Service out of Moorhead decides to renew this or not, we'll have to wait to see. It is somewhat typical to see that as a storm is still very damaging with regards to its wind or hail, but maybe no longer rotating with a hail threat, that sometimes they will just issue it as a severe thunderstorm warning, which would certainly fit this picture we're seeing right now, but they still certainly do have the right and the capability here to issue another tornado warning as this one starts to wrap up. So we'll have to wait to see what they decide to do. Pitt County, North Carolina reports of quarter-size hail. That's 1-inch size hail in Pitt County, 4 miles south-southwest of Stokes. So certainly tonight, a lot of folks are going to be seeing reports of damaging hail and damaging wind. You know, Raleigh had a storm that rolled through a little earlier tonight during dinner time, and they have got more activity rolling through now. But you can just see all of these reports, some confirmed, some social media reports of hail and damaging wind that came on through. So it's not just in this Greenville, North Carolina area, but over across the Triangle as well too. And even the Tri had some action earlier today. So this has really become mainly a North Carolina event today, and with regards to North Carolina and South Carolina, but we have seen 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings back across the South Carolina border. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick a different radar, and I just want to give you guys a nice clean look at what our severe weather threat is as we continue on through the evening. And this is the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, who issues these outlooks a few hours to a few days in advance. And you can see here everyone in yellow has a slight risk of seeing severe weather. That's essentially a tier 2 out of 5, but we have upgraded this now to a marginal from Raleigh to the coast, including Wilmington, Jacksonville, Goldsboro, Greenville, Wilson, and Fayetteville. You have a elevated threat of seeing severe weather, a 3 out of 5 on this scale or this category. That's not a 3 out of 5 probability or statistic, but if you think about it like the hurricane scale, we're just kind of moving up the rungs of the ladder here. And again, we can't rule out a chance of seeing a few storms even back towards Asheville or Charlotte or Columbia, and we saw some of those roll on through earlier tonight, but things are now beginning to quiet down as the temperatures cool down, the sun lowers. So really the activity here for the next few hours is what's left of it is going to be really from the Interstate 77 corridor to the east. Let's go ahead and turn those warnings back on. Let's turn the lightning back on too, so you can see a little bit what's going on. Even turn on some of those, again, those hail reports, because I think that's a big story here. So we've got a lot of lightning with these storms. If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning and certainly should be heading back inside. We have 2 more minutes, about 1 more minute now, until the National Weather Service will either let this tornado warning expire or may decide to reissue it. We can do a little analysis ourselves using the velocity here. I think what's left of the area of rotation is right on in here, but if I go ahead and start looping these frames over the course of the last few minutes or so, you can see how it does begin to weaken a little bit, but it's not entirely gone. It came right on through here, this area of rotation. And again, we don't have any confirmation that any sort of tornado actually touched down, but this tornado warning was issued because we were seeing this rotation in the storm. And we do have, of course, now back up to the just north here in the Greenville, North Carolina area, a severe thunderstorm warning that will go for 45 more minutes because of the threat of damaging wind and hail. I'm going to take a look at some of your comments here to see if we can answer any of those. We have a question about Richmond County, North Carolina. Carolina. We'll take a look there in just a moment. And Thomas was also saying I'm outside of Greenville and TV is out. Okay, so Thomas, we'll try our best here to keep you updated on this tornado warning. It sounds like that might be where you are. So Sarah checking in from Silo, South Carolina. You had some hail. That scared the living you-know-whats, she says. And yeah, absolutely. That hail can be very loud with it knocking on the windows there or on the outside of your house. And so I think a lot of people are experiencing that tonight. As we continue to wait here just momentarily to see if the National Weather Service is going to reissue this tornado warning or not, we can get an idea of what our one viewer in Richmond County, North Carolina can expect here over the course of the next few minutes or so. And we'll just take a quick look there, see what's going on over towards like the cities like Rockingham and such. And you can see that, you're not completely done. We had a little bit of lightning here with the storm moving towards Southern Pines. Some of the other activity back off to the east here is, or the west, excuse me, is really beginning to quiet on down. You can see it's actually quiet over the Charlotte area. And so you're just about all done there back across the Richmond County area of North Carolina. The activity does remain right now over the Greenville metropolitan area, over Raleigh, over Fayetteville. Again, you can see the outflow boundary from those storms as things continue to push here to the south. That's the outflow boundary going to the south with these storms continuing off to the east. We actually have this live picture for you out of Raleigh. You can see there just the dark skies that continue at this hour, and we've seen these for the last few hours or so as you were making your way home in the Raleigh area today, certainly running into a few thunderstorms and continuing to see some more now. Hopefully this will be really the last barrage for the Raleigh area. It's been a very busy week across the country for severe weather. As you guys know, hundreds of tornadoes reported across the area with just the intense heat here in the south, fueling systems elsewhere across the country. When you really think and look about the way the whole thing is laid out, it really just kind of set up a conveyor belt of storms over Oklahoma and other parts of the Central Plains and even into the Northeast. Most importantly, right here back home tonight, we can let you know that the tornado warning, let's see what we got here as we come into the 8:30 hour. It has, I believe, been allowed to expire. Certainly you can see that the red polygon is no longer on my screen. I'm waiting to see. Sometimes it takes just a moment for an update to show up. I don't have an official all clear, but I also don't have a new one. So I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt here. The National Weather Service, give them another 30 seconds or so and see if they decide to do anything in particular. But we can see here in just the latest radar scans. We'll go ahead and pause it again. We'll turn that lightning off. We have a ton of lightning. You can see here, not as well defined. So I think for now they've let this tornado warning expire, and we continue to watch severe weather threat now in the form of damaging wind and damaging hail, with a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15 for Greene, Lenior, Pitt, Martin, and Beaufort counties. Again, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Harnett, Wake, and Johnson counties until 9 o'clock, both of those for the threat of damaging winds, 60-mile-per-hour gust, and quarter-size hail. We also have both a severe thunderstorm warning now for Bladen, Robinson, Columbus, Dillon, Horry, and Marion, but also as you make your way towards Myrtle Beach, Oroy County now in South Carolina has one as well too. So we'll take off the outlook. That's putting a lot of lines on the screen for you. We'll turn off some of the storm reports just for a moment so you can really see. We have essentially 4 severe thunderstorm warnings right now. We have one special marine bulletin just off the coast for rough surf. I had a severe thunderstorm there, but unless you're watching us from the ocean, that's not really going to be applicable. And so we will continue to watch. Again, we are beginning to wind down the severe weather threat here in the Carolinas today. We have a little bit longer until all of this is said and done as it continues to move to the north and to the east here at about 30 miles an hour or so. These storms are packing a lot of lightning, but also a lot of hail. You can see all these reports of hail. Those are all the circles with the circles in them. and we had quite a lot of hail earlier today outside of Raleigh and Cary, even of varying sizes here, but you can just see we had some wind damage, we had some hail reports, so not only will we see them here and there, but we have a variety of them all across the area tonight. So again, at 8:33, we have no tornado warnings to tell you about here on the Carolina Weather Group. We do have these few severe thunderstorm warnings, popping them up on your screen now. I apologize. It seems like we left that Raleigh camera on your screen there for a long minute. So as I was drawing some circles and showing you guys a few things, you probably weren't seeing them. But just know that we have a severe thunderstorm warning outside of Raleigh. We have one outside of Greeneville, and including Greeneville, North Carolina. We have one here from Lumberton down to Myrtle Beach. And I mentioned this marine warning that you don't need to worry about. It's off over the ocean for a severe thunderstorm. And again, just to show you now that I've got you back up on the right source here, here was all of that hail outside the Raleigh area earlier today. Again, we had hail come back through Greeneville, North Carolina, and these are even some of just the most recent reports. We certainly had hail earlier today as well, too. So again, here is that SPC, the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the remainder of tonight. You can see that the orange area is at elevated threat, that tier 3 out of 5 for an elevated chance of seeing severe weather. Again, the biggest threat would be damaging wind or damaging hail. We can't rule out the chance of seeing an isolated tornado. As you've seen, we've seen maybe just under half a dozen tornado warnings today. No confirmed touchdowns, thankfully, but I do think a lot of people today are getting their unwanted taste of hail and damaging wind reports here as these thunderstorms continue to move off to the north and to the east at 30 miles an hour. Okay, we're going to stand down coverage here on the Carolina Weather Group. This is James Brierton in Charlotte at 8:35. We'll continue to keep an eye on the radar. Again, a few severe thunderstorm warnings at this point. We just had this one outside of Greeneville, now expanded a little bit further to the south to include Lenior, Craven, Pitt, and Beaufort counties until 9:15. This will make its way towards the Outer Banks here in the next few minutes or so, next course of the hour or so. We'll be back on the air with you if we get any more tornado warnings or any sort of significant severe weather. But again, you've been watching severe weather coverage from the Carolina Weather Group here live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. We appreciate you guys watching us all across those different platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe to be notified when we come back on the air for live severe weather coverage or our weekly Wednesday night show, which airs every Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern.